Hi, this is Jim Motley from SSL, and we're here with Craig from Harmony Central to talk to you about the SSL Nucleus, the DAW controller that we've released at the AES show this year. But Nucleus is more than just a DAW controller. It's everything the hardcore in-the-box producer needs to do their productions. It's an audio card, it's mic pre's, it's a monitor controller, and it's the plugins you need when you're doing your productions itself. Nucleus, as you can probably see here, is a 16 fader DAW controller. The way that it works is over MCU or over HUI, and the control is all handled over Ethernet, and all the audio I/O is handled separately on USB, so we have tons of bandwidth for snappy, fast response. You'll see on the desk itself now that the screens at the top will give you our track names and our pan controls in Logic, which I have on the screen here. But these could also be my aux sends, these could be my O assignments, it could display the volume of the track for us, or it can be the plugin parameters. Taking from the same technology that we use in the SSL Matrix analog console and DAW controller, we have two layers of user keys, and we can assign any parameter that our DAW thinks a controller should have, or any keyboard shortcut or combination of multiple key shortcuts to any one of the soft keys on the board. So for instance, if I press the user button here and the mixer button, you can see Logic's mixer toggling open and closed. Also, I could zoom in on tracks, I can see the automation of tracks, and there's a second layer, so when you know your workflow, when you know the keyboard shortcuts you use all the time and how you want to use your DAW, Nucleus can be very quickly set up to work the way that you work. The integration with Logic actually goes a little deeper, and Logic has a number of custom layers that you can define for a Mackie control. So you can see on the front of the board here that we have an EQ and a dynamics button. And if I press the EQ button, I have a Duende native channel strip loaded on every channel of the desk. And by selecting a channel on the Nucleus, I then get the 4-band EQ controls direct on the VPOTs in front of me without having to open the plugin window. If I press the Dynamics button, it does exactly the same for the Dynamics control of the Duende native channel strip. As I said, Nucleus is the complete solution, and the complete solution means that it works with more than one piece of software. You might use Reason and Pro Tools, you might use Ableton and Logic, you might have some sessions in Cubase and some sessions in Sonar. Nucleus is format agnostic. We play with everyone's party. And so by pressing the DAW2 button on the desk here, I'm now controlling Pro Tools on my DAW system, and I have access to the sends, the parameters, the pan controls, the faders, the transport, and with a single button press I'm back controlling Logic. This means that the way that you work, the way that your friends work, the move into video you're thinking of doing with Final Cut, Nucleus is a product that will serve all of the software that you want. But it isn't just a controller. Nucleus is supposed to be the centre of your studio, so we have two K-series mic preamps, exactly the same as you get an X-Ray module or a Duality. And this has a combi input for an instrument. When you plug in a guitar or bass, it automatically switches to 1 mega ohm impedance. And we also have two impedance switches for the mic pre's themselves. So if you're using a ribbon mic rather than condenser, we can make sure the impedances are matched. We have phantom power, phase invert, a high-pass filter, and we also have an insert point. So if you want to integrate other compressors, dynamics, other outboard equipment as part of your tracking path. The mic pre's also have their own analog output, so they can be used standalone with an audio card that you already have. For instance, in this setup, I'm using the internal USB sound card with Logic, and I'm using an M-Box with Pro Tools, so I'm plugging into the external input in my monitor section. The insert points also have a very, very cool feature, and the mix down button on the front of the unit changes the routing order of where the insert points sit. Instead of being after the mic preamps, it switches the analog insert points into kind of a loop with the USB sound card. So if you work in the box, but you want to incorporate an analog bus compressor, you can put the bus compressor across the insert points, hit mix down mode, and then with our wet-dry control, actually monitor what the compressor's doing as it sends back down the USB to record as a stereo track as your final mix. Underneath the mix down button we have the headphone volume level with two headphone outputs on the back. We have the wet-dry control for true zero latency super analog monitoring, and then our monitor control pot. This has two outputs, one at -10, one at +4, so if you've got an NS10 with amps it can be correctly balanced for that, or if you're using active balance speakers it can go out of the other one. There are also two foot switch inputs. I mentioned that Nucleus has its own inbuilt sound card, and this goes over USB 2 and can record at rates up to 192K 24-bit. That can either go direct into the computer, or it can be used in combination with our optical SP-DIF inputs on the back of the Nucleus. So if, for instance, you come round to my house to do some music, I can plug your MacBook into the back of the Nucleus, leave the USB connected into my computer, and hear what's on your laptop, or record it across into my computer with no AD conversions. Also, and it's a small feature, but it's a nice feature, Nucleus has a 4-port USB hub on the back of it. And if you're as panicky as I am when you see 3 iLocks hanging out the side of your MacBook, then you'll know why we put that there. The final part of Nucleus is the processing that comes in the box when you're working. And Nucleus gives the Duende native versions of the channel strip and the bus compressor to complete the package. So if you turn around 3-4 projects a day, if you work with a bit of audio, a bit of video, if you songwrite with one software but mix with another software, Nucleus is the product that brings all of it together with built out of metal, made in the UK, doesn't wobble when you touch it, SSL functionality. And we've even backlit the logo. So hopefully that's given you a great overview. If you have more questions, the team at Harmony Central seems to be very good at knowing about it, and look out for a review coming up soon. Thanks for checking us out.